So you're building a backend with Node.js, right? And you've probably hit this exact fork in the road. You've got these three massive names that dominate the conversation. And today, we're going to figure out which one is the right one for you.
Okay, let's get right into it. You've got to pick a framework, one to learn, one to build with, and let's be honest, one to land a job with. So, is it going to be the classic Express, the super structured NestJS, or the lightning fast Fastify? That's the big question we're answering today.
First up, let's get to know our three main players, because each one brings a completely different philosophy, a totally different personality to the table. And, understanding that is absolutely key.
Let's start with the OG, the titan of the Node.js world, Express.js. I mean, there's a reason it's the most popular framework in the ecosystem. Its whole idea is minimalism. It gives you the absolute bare bones for routing and middleware. But the rest, the entire application architecture, well, that's all on you.
This quote just nails it, right? Express isn't the entire house. It's a really high-quality set of power tools. You're the architect and you're the builder. Now, this gives you incredible flexibility for sure, but it also means you got to bring a lot of discipline to the job.
Next up, we've got the modern enterprise kid on the block, NestJS. And it's pretty much the polar opposite of Express. It's highly opinionated, it was built from the ground up for TypeScript, and it's heavily inspired by the structure of frameworks like Angular. So you're thinking in terms of modules, controllers, and services from day one. And this idea of getting an architecture out of the box, that's the whole magic of NestJS. It doesn't just hand you a box of tools, it gives you the entire blueprint for the house. It enforces patterns and structure, and it uses some really advanced concepts like decorators and dependency injection to keep massive code bases from turning into a total mess.
And our third contender is Fastify, who I like to call the performance nerd. It was designed from the very beginning with one main goal in mind: be unbelievably fast with super low overhead. It's all about speed and giving you, the developer, a great experience with its awesome plugin architecture.
This quote just positions it perfectly. It kind of takes that minimalist spirit from Express, but totally rebuilds it for the modern era, focusing on pure, raw speed and a better overall developer experience, or DX, as they call it. So, now that we've met our players, let's throw them in the ring.
All right, introductions are over. It's time for the head-to-head showdown. Let's really see how these three stack up against each other when we put them to the test. You can see right away when you look at this breakdown, the differences become crystal clear. Express, totally unopinionated, massive ecosystem, but TypeScript support always feels kind of bolted on. NestJS, the complete opposite. It's super opinionated, TypeScript is a first-class citizen, and its whole ecosystem is built for enterprise-level patterns. And Fastify, it strikes a really nice balance, It gives you amazing TypeScript support while still being way more flexible than Nest. Okay, let's talk speed. And when it comes to raw performance, yeah, the benchmarks don't lie. Fastify is just a rocket ship. It's the clear winner. But here's the really interesting story. Look at Nest.js. Its performance is variable because you can actually choose its engine. You can run Nest on top of Express, sure. Or for a massive performance boost, you can run it on top of Fastify. So you get the best of both worlds. Nest's incredible structure with Fastify's insane speed. So how hard are they to learn? Well, look at this Express code. It's ridiculously simple, right? A few lines of code and boom, you have a web server running. And that super low barrier to entry is a huge reason it's so popular. But here's the trap. That simplicity is a double-edged sword. If you're not careful, that easy start can quickly turn into a messy, unstructured nightmare, what we call spaghetti code, as your project gets bigger. Now, Fastify's Hello World is just as simple, but you can see right away it embraces more modern JavaScript stuff like async await right out of the box. It's really easy to get started with, but its real power is in its plugin system and schema validation, which, yeah, adds a little more to learn down the road. And then there's NestJS. Yeah, this one has the steepest initial learning curve, hands down. Before you even think about writing a Hello World, you've got to wrap your head around its core concepts: modules, controllers, services, dependency injection, the whole shebang. But trust me, that initial investment pays off in a huge way when you're working on big, complex applications.
Okay, we've geeked out on the technical differences, but let's get down to brass tacks. What does this all actually mean for your career? And which one should you pick?
All right, you should definitely focus on learning Express first if you are brand new to backend development. It literally forces you to learn the fundamentals of HTTP, routing, and middleware from scratch. Plus, it's essential if you're ever going to work on the millions of existing projects already built with it. Now, you should jump straight into NestJS if you've got your eyes on an enterprise job or you're aiming for a startup that really values clean, scalable architecture. If you love TypeScript and you want a framework that practically holds your hand and guides you toward best practices, well, NestJS is an amazing choice for your career in 2025. And Fastify? You pick Fastify when performance is your absolute #1 non-negotiable priority. If you're building high-throughput microservices, real-time APIs, anything where every single millisecond counts, Fastify's low overhead and incredible speed make it the obvious winner. So, knowing all that, what's the actual game plan? How should you approach this? Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I want to give you a clear, actionable roadmap for your learning journey.
Here it is. This is the most effective path for real. First, spend just 1 to 2 weeks with Express. That's it. Don't go building a massive project. Just build a simple REST API to really understand the core mechanics. Once you've got that down, make NestJS your main framework. Rebuild that same API in Nest, and you'll immediately have that aha moment where you see why its structure is so powerful. And then, keep Fastify in your back pocket for when you need to build something that has to be exceptionally, ridiculously fast.
See, this path gives you everything. You get the fundamental knowledge with Express, the enterprise-ready skills with NestJS, and the performance powerhouse with Fastify. It's not about which one is best, it's about having the right tool for the right job. So you have the roadmap. The only question left is, what are you going to build first?